Everyone, welcome to Comics from the Future. I'm Jason, and I'm with Infinity Flux Comics, which is out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And every week we film this video where we show you the newest comics that are available to order. So usually I have my co-host Andy Dugan, but he has been on vacation this week. Fortunately, today is the last day, so he'll be back next Monday when we do our review show and going forward. Fortunately for me today, it's a pretty light week. Because of the holidays, there are no Marvel books and no DC books for pre-order. So this show, I'm just going to focus in on all the indie titles that are available. The indie publishers, they're on their own schedules. Maybe they're a little bit hungrier. So let's give them some love this week. So it's going to be an all indie show. Not exactly by choice. I mean, that's just all we have to draw from. So without further ado, let's get into it. Beginning with our featured comics. Starting with Inferno Girl Red. So this is going to be a three-issue miniseries set in the Massive universe, or they call it the Massive Verse. This is the universe that was started with Radiant Black, and it went on to all different other characters. Well, Girl Red is now getting her own miniseries for it. So her real name is Cassia Costa. Apparently, she moves to a new school where some ancient cult attacks the city. And so it's going to be up to her to defend against it. So that is what's going on in the miniseries Inferno Girl Red, just a three-issue series that is available to order now. So this is our regular cover. Then we have our variant. This is the MANNA variant. And here is the Go variant for Inferno Girl Red. So next up is one near and dear to me, even more so if Andy were here. This is one of his like two favorite comics. It is Invincible. So this is a one shot they're releasing that is a reprint of number one. It's called Invincible Undeluxe. Why is it Undeluxe? Because Robert Kirkman has a good sense of humor. He's a strange individual, thankfully. So he's re-releasing Invincible, but it's not colored. You get to see all the line work. It's just a black and white reprint of Invincible. It will have some extra stuff though. It's going to have Robert Kirkman's original handwritten notes on the script, and apparently he did like a handwritten sort of plot outline originally that you're going to get to see as well. So something pretty historical. I mean, I'm very interested to see what his handwritten plot of Invincible looked like versus what, if you've read it or if you've at least like seen season one Amazon, to compare that. I think would be very, very interesting. This is all because it's the 20th anniversary of Invincible, and I think next year Image is going to do a bunch of things for Invincible's 20th anniversary, so this sort of kicks that off. Also available for order this week is they're just doing a straight out facsimile of Invincible number one. So if you just want the actual first issue in color, the way it was first presented, then here's a chance to order a reprint of that. So next up, I like all the weird stuff they do with Archie. Growing up, I bought all the comics, but I'd see the Archie books at the grocery store, and I was always like, that's not for me. I mean, I could be reading about superpowers. So these appeal to me more, and I have grown more of a affection for the regular Archie titles too. But this is another sort of Archie what if title. So it's Archie versus the world. Um, this is going to be a mini series, and in it, Archie is in a post-apocalyptic world. Actually, you know what? I read so many books today because I have to do the whole show myself. This is a one shot. Yep, this is not a mini series. This is just a one and done. So it's Archie set in a post-apocalyptic world. He's all by himself except his souped-up jalopy, and he is going to have to go up against his evil mirror alter ego, Reggie. Now, when you look at the cover, you read about it's like Archie's all by himself. Well, who are all these other characters on it? I have a feeling he's not going to be all by himself by the end of this. So that's what's going on in Archie versus the World one shot. So here's our regular cover, and then here is the Lopresti variant, wearing all black, looking cool. As 90s as it gets. So this is done by Aubrey Sitterson, and the art is by Jed Dougherty. So next up from Scout Comics, it is Banshees number one. So this is going to be a five-issue miniseries. and it is about a girl who moves into a new dormitory. And this is after some tragedy has struck her life. I think her best friend has died. So she moves in this dormitory. She's really sad, and she gets very obsessed with the legend of this serial killer who has been killing people on campus. And she kind of discovers this is continued, and so she starts poking around looking into it. But how long can you look into something before it starts looking back at you? So that's sort of the premise for the new 5 issue series Banshees from Scout Comics. Next up, Dragon Age is getting a prequel comic to the upcoming game uh, Dragon Age Dreadwolf. So one thing I've learned selling comics all these years is when there is a comic that's a prequel to a game and it comes out first, usually it sells just a little bit. But after the game comes out, everybody wants it then. So if you suspect you may be one of those people who has been guilty of this before, here's your chance to order it beforehand, and you don't have to like pay more than cover price. Hmm. So again, this is going to be, I think it's a yeah, it's a 4 issue miniseries, and this is going to lead directly into the new game. So that's even more important. It's not even just like a refresher or an adjacent story. This is like a prequel leading into the game. So I think everybody who is going to want that sort of knows it. And it's just a one cover too. All right, so it's not a number one, but I feel I'd be remiss if I didn't put this in our featured. This is Saga issue number 61. So Saga came back, and we all wondered would it still be as hot as it was. At our store, it sold like crazy. Now, I'm not saying maybe it sold as well as like the height Saga's popularity, but I'd say it lost very little. We saw people come in our store that we hadn't seen in a long time, and then of course our regulars started picking up too. So of course they did another arc, and then they took another break. And since then, people have come up being like, "When's Saga coming back? When's Saga coming back?" Well, here it is. It's number 61. It's going to be the beginning of a whole new story arc about Hazel and her family, and it releases January 25th. So if you were on the fence about re-sign up for the series, you're like, "Oh, is it going to go away for 3 years again?" No, apparently they are still moving forward at a pretty good pace. They just want to take breaks between each thing. So and just the one cover. Darkwing Duck is back up for order. Now, we went over this a few weeks back with a bunch of covers, and for some reason, Dynamite has decided to put it back up for order. That means that our orders that were locked in are no longer locked in. So if you want any of the other covers we showed before, that's fine. But they have added several covers. So these are ones that were not available to order before when we did the show. So this is the STAGGS variant. This is the HAESER variant. And then there's a bunch of blank ones. So they're doing an orange blank one, they're doing a blue, and they're doing a white. So whatever color you think would look nice for whatever image you want, artist that you like to draw on. They're giving you 3 choices. There's no lack of covers over at Dynamite, that's for sure. I'm just glad they're doing some stuff I actually want to pick up now, like Gargoyles and Darkwing Duck. All right, next up, another well-known name. Mark Miller is bringing back Magic Order for its 4th miniseries. So it is Magic Order number 4. Issue number 1 is available. So in this, there is a coup brewing among all the wizards. You can expect it's going to be very gory, a lot of cursing, all the stuff that you either like or you don't like with Mark Miller. I want to make you aware that Magic Order number 4 for number 1 is available for order with a few variants. So this is the regular cover by RUAN. This is the black and white variant of that regular cover. Here's the Albuquerque variant. And then there is also a blank variant for that as well. All right, next up, Lady Zorro Final Fight number 1. So they say it's number 1, but actually I looked into this. This is a one shot. This is a 32-page one shot, and it is supposedly ending the storyline of our current Lady Zorro. Her name is Muat, M-U-A-T. So this is going to finally end her story in one just sort of one shot. for you Lady Zorro fans out there. And this also has a variant. This is the variant by the main cover artist Avella as well for Lady Zorro one shot. Final fight. Luckily named, I suppose. I hope she wins her final fight. Because I mean, often if it's a final fight and you're never seen again, it's bad news. All right, so another sort of classic Golden Age characters coming back. Green Hornet in One Night in Bangkok. This is also a one shot. This one is going to be 40 pages. And the premise is the son of a criminal that Green Hornet sent to prison basically has grown up and has decided to go after him. By the way, his name is the Snake. So I wonder if there's game that name or not. Because if they did, I mean, you're locked into being a bad guy. I don't know if somebody could name you the Snake and you'd be a good guy. So that is just the general premise for this one shot of Green Hornet, One Night in Bangkok. It does, can't help but think of the '80s song "One Night in Bangkok," and it makes me wonder how many times writers, it's like they have a deadline. They got to get that title out, and he's in a cab on the way to the meeting, and that song comes on. He's like, "Perfect, I got it. I got the perfect one." So don't be like me. Don't hear the lyrics when you're reading the title here. So here is the Johnson variant for that. That main cover was a Pinocchio cover, by the way. And here is the Wagner cover for it. Really like this one. The gun style, the stiff pose, but not like the artist couldn't draw him non-stiff, but like this is how he stands. Okay, and the last featured comic this week is "And We Love You" from Scout Comics. This is also a 64-page one shot, and it is by writer artist Fell Hound. Fellhound, what a great name. So this is a pretty interesting idea. So this is set during a dystopian war. There is a young soldier and she's gravely wounded and she's bleeding out in the battlefield. And as she bleeds out, her memories bleed out. And we get to see like her life and her aspirations and what led her to this and what she's thinking about. I like stories like that. I like stories where some impending doom's happening and it slows down and lets us really crack open a person. So I reading about it, it sounded like something for me. So anyway, 64-page one shot from Fellhound, and We Love You from Scout Comics. Okay, so there weren't that many comics this week. Usually we do our feature, then we do other number ones. I just put them all together this time. And now comes the final segment, which there's quite a bit of, which is full comic covers and other comics. So the full covers are variants that I think are pretty cool or noteworthy. But more than that, this week, it's actually a lot of ongoing series that I just want to remind people are going on. I mean, without Marvel or DC to order this week, we may as well really spotlight these indie books. So here we go. First up is Creep Show number 5, and look at the cover for this. This is just the regular A cover. I love it. It's just a fantastic A cover. Just so scary and creepy. I guess when you own and work in a comic shop, this is the sort of thing can appeal more to you if you like horror as well. This is actually the finale. This is the last issue of this mini series, but I have a feeling it's going to be back with another one after too long. Here is the main cover to Hell to Pay number 3. This is the other series that Charles Soule is currently doing. If you don't know about this series, you probably know about 8 Billion Genies, which is Charles Soule's series. More people are picking up. I pick up about everything by him, though. So if you're interested in this, you may want to grab it. So Hell to Pay number 3, this is the main cover, and here is the slimy variant to that. Next up is this is the Moore variant for Hitomi number 4. So just want to remind people who are reading that, if you want the variant, let your store know. After issue number 2s and 3s, we don't tend to order tons of variants just for the wall, willy-nilly. It really is sort of up to the customers to ask for them. So next, from Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, more Junkyard Joe. This is issue number 4. This is the variant cover by Rodriguez and Anderson. Of course, Junkyard Joe is sort of part of the universe that Jeff Johns started with Geiger, part of the Geiger verse that him and Gary Frank have been doing. Uh, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Geiger got optioned. That doesn't have as much mean as it used to, but it still does matter. It's still, you know, a badge for sure. It's something that, now your chances of seeing it on TV or movies goes from 0% up to, 10%. So that's fairly significant. Anyhow, this is yes, this is the first variant. Here is the Stott variant. Here is the Frank and Anderson variant, and here is the oh no, that is it. This is a different variant altogether. This is the Ben Templesmith variant for Philadelphia number 27. So Templesmith still has many, many fans out there. I didn't want anyone to miss out on ordering this variant just because it's a small week. Next is the Vecchio variant for Lovesick number 4. I compared this book to Red Room, and the writer of it actually commented on the video and was like, "No, no, 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 no. I had my script written before that was out, and I believe them. It's not like Red Room. That's the first person to ever do anything like that, or that idea wasn't out there before." So, but yes, this is the Vecchio variant to Lovesick number 4 about Domino, who is the dominatrix who runs her version of a red room. It's a messed up book. It is a little much for me, but tons of my friends way into it. Next up is the Fleeks variant for plush number 3. This, of course, is from the team of Doug Wagner and Dan Hilliard, who previously did the miniseries Plastic. They did the miniseries Vinyl. They like writing about crazy killers, and not just, oh, I like to kill and that's my thing, like who are into weird stuff. Weird, weird stuff. This time, it's about furries. And I like how they have the theme across their books of different materials plastic, vinyl, plush. So, again, this is the Fleeks variant. Okay, next up is check this out. This is the new cover to Spawn Scorch number 14. If you can't tell who did this, you probably have not been in the comics as long as I have. This is the David Mack variant. David Mack stuff, you can just spot it a mile away once you start appreciating it. Need Andy here to do some of the talking. Okay, here is the Anguilo variant for Spawn Scorch number 14. And in this, from what I read about, there's a rift between Spawn and the Scorched, and it just is growing and growing. Here is the Vendril variant for Voyages number 3. This is from writer-artist Samai Kesjin. So if you've been reading this, this is the variant for it this time that you can order. Okay, continuing on. Behold Behemoth number 3. This is the Deladera variant. Yes, the artist from Something's Killing the Children. This is by the team of Bromble and Robbles. Next up, we have Briar number 3. This is the Paquette variant. This is the totally different retelling about Briar Rose. Her she wasn't really woken up by the prince. She was kind of more tricked by the prince, and she wakes up thousands of years later trying to figure out what's going on now and if any of her ties from back then still matter. So this is by Christopher Cantwell and with art by Garcia. Next up is Damn Them All number 4. This is the really cool Dan Mora variant for it. I mean, this is just going to stand out. Like if you put this on the shelf with the other comics, it's just going to stand out. Very, very cool. The more I look at it, the more I like this variant. Speaking of Dan Mora, here is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TMNT 2 number 2. And the main cover here is by Dan Mora as well. So this series launched this week to much fanfare. A lot of people who loved the first came back. I think some new people who didn't even read the first picked it up because we sold quite a bit of it at our store. So here's the main cover to that, to the issue number 2. Here is the Eastman and Williams variant. I think this one's going to be, not super hot, but pretty hot. Here is the Lady variant. This one has that sort of charm, that like your friend who's going to be a great artist one day has done it charm, and I suspect that's what um, Laddie was going for. Of course, the difference between an aspiring artist and a real artist is that you're being paid for it, and so Laddie is definitely a real artist because they definitely got paid for this, and this is a major comic to do a variant for. So I like this one. And then next is the Bernardo variant for it. And then we have the Clark Hardstock variant. This one looks very cool, real action packed, jumping right at you. Also, if you missed that number one, or if you want to get everything associated with it, there's a second print that is available. Order now as well. This is the Grassetti second print for TMNT. Sorry, for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers got first billing on this for some reason. As far as properties go, I feel like TMNT is a bigger property, but maybe they were doing it alphabetically. They're like, let's be fair about it. M is before T, so or maybe they'll switch them. Maybe last time it was the other way. I don't recall. All right, so next up, here is Witcher: The Ballad of Two Wolves #2. This is the Rebelka variant. Then we have the Schmidt variant. And lastly, the Lopez variant. And in this, Geralt is caught in a web of lies about the whole werewolf situation. Based on this cover, it looks like he might be getting a little too close to figuring out the truth. This is the Franey variant for Once Upon a Time at the End of the World. This person is having a lot of fun at the end of the world, it looks like. This, of course, is a series where the two young people, Makeo and Mezzi, they travel together through this crazy, messed up, post-apocalyptic, monster-filled, toxic world together as they try to get to know each other and survive, but also have a good time. This is the Panosian variant for Lord of the Jungle #3, the latest Tarzan comic. Tarzan's been in comics since the Golden Age. This one's interesting because it's told later. He's a bit more grown up, and there was some bad thing that happened years back that he now has just decided he wants vengeance for. Sort of sends him back into Tarzan mode. So again, this is Lord of the Jungle #3, the Panosian variant. Then here is the Lao variant through Ninjets #5, which this is the end of their origin arc. I think the series is going to continue. It's just, their origin will have been completed in its telling at the end of this issue. And then here's the Federici variant for that issue as well. Right, next up, Vampirella Year 1, issue #5. This is the March variant. There's only so many Dynamite variants. We don't show them all. We just pick whatever one we think might be the best, most significant, whatever one we like the most. So more than anything, we're trying to remind people, hey, this comic is available to order. And if there are other covers, if we showed every Dynamite cover every week, the show would be like 3 hours. Next up, Book of Shadows #3. This is the Romero variant for this. This is one of the few Valiant books that is still running, and luckily they got a good team on this. Cullen Bunn is writing this, so again, this is the Romero variant for that. Then this is the Laming variant for 007 #6. In James Bond is this disheveled that he's going to put the hurt on somebody. Like you can mess with Bond, but don't mess with his suit. You got blood on his suit. His bow tie's unraveled. That's not good for you. And lastly, this is the Hassan variant for Tom Holland's Fright Night #5. This might not mean a lot to some of you, but a couple of you who out there might be buying this, scratching your head right now, because this was supposed to be a 4-issue series. This is a surprise 5th issue. They said that the story couldn't be contained in just the 4, and so surprise, it's a 5th issue. So I don't mind that. I think that could be a real nice thing, especially if people are really digging a comic. All right, and that is it. A very quick show, which is good since I'm having to host the whole thing myself this week. Due to no Marvel and no DC Comics. Next week, everything returns to new. Andy will be back. There'll be plenty of comics for ordering. But of course, you know us, we're always going to be there, whether it's rain or shine or there's a holiday, we're always going to be there to let you know what new comics are available to order. We're always going to be there to review them, help you know which ones to pick out at your store. That is why you guys have been so cool, and so many of you have subscribed to our YouTube channel. And if you haven't yet, here is your chance. We're over 2,000 subscribers now. Our goal next year is to get up to 3,000. That's a lot for a niche channel like us that doesn't do any like gimmicky things. I mean, we literally just do what we think is the most important stuff, and then we just leave it to people to figure out. That's what's cool about us. So hopefully you have enjoyed, and thank you very much. We will see you next weekend, and have a great New Year's.